anything that you do in the swing, if you understand it better, you're going to be able to execute it better. So, understanding the release, which is the most important part of the swing, is vitally important. And what's most important is understanding what the timing of the release is supposed to look like. What does on time look like? What does late look like? What does early look like? Can we actually define these things mechanically? And yes, we can. And that's exactly what we're going to do in today's lesson. We're going to show you exactly what an on time release looks like, late and early. Now, the beautiful part about this is if we're releasing the bat correctly, then it doesn't really matter too much if we're a little early, later on time, because the bat will be moving and we'll have a ton of speed going into the ball. So let's jump right into this. If we're releasing the bat properly, that means we're getting into the proper bat lag position and we're releasing our angles into the ball. That's the long and short of it. So you know from the Pro Speed hitting system, if we want to make sure that we're in sync, we need to make sure that we have forward shoulder tilt at impact. That's if we draw a line through both shoulder sockets at impact, that line's tilted in towards the field. If we're releasing the bat and we're releasing all of our angles with forward shoulder tilt, then we have the golden move to hit great. So now we're going to get even more specific. We're going to understand this even more. What is on time, early and late? Well, if we can understand early and late by simply understanding what on time looks like, and that is simply making sure that the lead arm and the bat are in a straight line at impact. This would be a perfectly timed up swing, perfect release, especially with forward shoulder tilt. Now, we can get our lead arm and our bat into a straight line at impact, but if we're over rotated, we're not going to get nearly as much speed, and the bat's going to be getting pulled out of the zone. So as we know, if the more my lead shoulder pulls away from us, the more the bat's going to be pulled to our pull side. And even if our lead arm and our bat get lined up, it's not truly going to be released into the ball. So we want to make sure that we keep that forward shoulder tilt. So if you haven't already, make sure you work through the release drills in the Pro Speed hitting system so you know how to get that forward shoulder tilt. So we know the lead arm and the bat are in a line and lined up at impact. This would be on time. So we use this line to see what late looks like. So anything behind this line at impact. So if there's a little angle between our lead arm and our bat, and this bat is behind that straight line, this would be little late impact. This is where players who are releasing the bat will hit the ball to the opposite field most often, but they hit it hard the opposite way. So late is not bad. It's bat still moving. We just understand that if you hit an down the middle pitch a little further to right field, let's say you're a right-handed hitter and you hit a down the middle pitch a little further to right field, I know that bat was released late. So I know that bat was behind my arm at impact. So as you can guess, early would be the exact opposite. Early would be when the bat's in front of my lead arm at impact. So this is when you hit an outside pitch to your pull side. I know that bat was released early. I'll show you what that looks like from the face-on view. We'll do one late and one early. So this, I know that bat was late. And now let's do one where we hit one early. So I know this bat is going to be in front of my arm at impact, which is the one most players struggle with. So I never really see a lot of untrained players. I can see trained players do this, but not a lot of untrained players hitting the ball early in front of their arm. Most players want to drag the bat. Now, hitting it early, this bat's still moving fast. This is where you'll see guys get fooled on curveballs, and they'll get out just a little bit early, and they'll pop it out of the park because that bat is moving like crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, that's great, but what we always want to be doing is striving to get to perfectly on time, which is when that lead arm and that bat get into a straight line at impact. So most of the time, though, this is very important to understand that the impact timing is I might feel like I'm at a straight line at impact, but there are forces at play. When I swing this bat and I have speed, this bat's going to be pulling back like crazy, and it's going to be pushing down. So a lot of the time, perfect impact will look like this bat is slightly behind the lead arm at impact. And that's okay. That's just understanding how the release works. So now that you understand what early, late, and on time is, now I'm going to have you train this, because training what this is, or training our release and understanding early, late, and on time is going to make you that much more dangerous, because now you can on purpose take the ball the other way. You can on purpose pull the ball, and you can understand what you want to train when you're hitting ball after ball in the cage, how you actually want to get into impact. So this is going to be very simple. What you're going to do is you're going to set up for a perfect down the middle pitch, like we talk about in the perfect tee setup in the Pro Speed system, where we get the lead arm and the bat lined up and we make sure the barrel is covering the ball. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start off by on purpose hitting one early from that perfect down the middle pitch. We're going to practice hitting one on time and then late. So we're going to early, on time, late, and we're going to kind of work it back. So I'm going to make sure that this bat passes my arm on the first one, and this should be pulled pretty good to my pull side. So not bad, but I actually could tell that that was a little closer on time, but it was still pretty early. It was still in front of my arm in impact. So, and then I'm going to work on hitting it on time. Again, I'm going to be filming myself from face on, and I know that bat was pretty darn lined up. So remember, on that face on view, when you're lining up the lead arm and bat, if you do see this bat slightly behind, again, that's okay. Now, still from the down the middle pitch, I'm going to make sure that I'm hitting this bat. This is going to be most easy for players because they're used to doing this with the bat late, and this ball should go a little bit to my opposite side. So I know when I check that on camera, my bat is behind my lead arm at impact. Guys, there's so much you can do with this. You can understand the speed. You can understand the release. You can do situational hitting. You can hit the ball to your pull side, your push side on command if you understand the release timing. But make no mistake, the best way to hit a baseball is when we get that perfectly lined up bat ball at impact where the lead arm and the bat straighten up. That's going to give us our highest exit velocity, our most speed into the ball, and it's going to keep us in the zone the longest. And there we go. I say it all the time, but there's nothing that feels better in hitting than lining those two up and hitting it off the sweet spot. Now, this is all fantastic. We want to make sure we understand this release, but here's the deal. If we don't have the first piece of this correct, all of this is going to be very difficult to do. If we're not transitioning the bat properly into the bat lag position and then releasing from here, then it's going to be very difficult to get our early, late, and on time. It's going to be very difficult to control and release those angles. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play an all-access lesson for you, a complete free bonus video that you can see by clicking on the iCard, or you can click on the link in the description below. This is one of our all-access lessons that's going to show you exactly how to visualize the bat lag position so that you can release this bat, get our max speed, keep the bat in the zone, all those great things. You can see a preview of that at the end of this video. If you want to see that whole video, make sure you click on one of those links, and we'll see you here in that lesson. If you want to hit great, you have to get into the proper bat lag position. Why is the reason we want this is because it allows us to maximize our bat speed. So our bat cannot get to its highest speed until it gets 90 degrees to our spine. So if my spine is straight up and down, when this bat gets 90 degrees to my spine, that's when it can reach its maximum velocity. Everything in motion is going to seek 90 degrees to its axis when it maximizes its speed. If the bat we need to somewhere in this area soon enough, we can now get into the proper bat lag position to release the bat. An improper bat lag position would be above the most common mistake where the bat gets up too high, then it tries to get into the position, and by that time, it's just too late. So how do we train this position? Well, I've got a beautiful drill that's going to show you exactly how to start getting into this transition position, and it's going to be just as simple as understanding the extension of the bat.